Hi there, my friends, and welcome to Master of Horror, where I dive deep to find you the scariest paranormal stories that are out there. These are not just any true stories, but the scariest that will have you turning on a nightlight. Okay now, my friends, let's begin. True, scary, paranormal story number 1. The Doppelganger. The story I'm about to tell you is true, and it's 100% paranormal. There is no other explanation for what occurred. This true story takes place in Bryan, Texas. I'm a single mom, and I have one daughter that's in college. She attends a college that is about 5 hours from my house. I was at home one night, and I was watching TV on the sofa, alone. It was about 12 o'clock midnight, and I was getting ready to go to bed when I heard a noise behind me. It was the front door to the house that was left open, and my daughter, who was supposed to be in college, walked past the living room and slowly went into the hallway. I called out her name, Nancy. She didn't turn around. She kept on walking, and she was wearing a red sweater with blue jeans. I remember feeling really scared and confused as to why my daughter came home without letting me know when she's supposed to be in college 5 hours from here. I walked to the hallway and I saw her standing in front of the door to her old room. Again, she's been in college for the last 2 years, so there's no reason why she would be trying to open the door to her old room. I looked at her and said, "Nancy, what are you doing? Is everything okay? Please look at me." My heart was pounding, and all I can remember is wondering, why isn't she acknowledging me? She turned around slowly and looked at me, and she had a blank stare on her face, as if she was in a trance. She turned back towards her room, opened the door and walked in and shut it. I was puzzled and confused. At that moment, while I was standing in the hallway, the phone rang that was in the living room right next to the sofa. I walked over to the phone and picked it up. It was my daughter, the same daughter that is now in the room. My heart stopped and I couldn't breathe. I was petrified, and I went ahead and told my daughter on the phone that her ghost is actually in the house at that same moment. I told her to please stay on the line with me. Do not hang up the phone. I was petrified. I slowly walked down the hallway to my daughter's room and opened the door. The room was empty and no one was in there. It was pitch black. I closed the door and walked down the hallway back towards the living room, and when I got to the living room area, there my daughter was standing. She looked at me, but this time angrily. I told her to please get out. The entity then stared at me for a few more seconds before running towards me. I covered my face with my hands and screamed. I felt that I was going to die. When nothing happened, I slowly pulled my hands down from my face, and it was gone. This experience terrified me to the point that I have gotten my home blessed many times. I now know what I saw that night was a doppelganger of my daughter. The Party. Back in 2007, my sister and her husband used to live with me and my mother. I was in the middle of school at the time. One Saturday night, my brother-in-law was working at a security job, and my sister and I were with my mom at a church function. These church functions lasted about 8 to 8:30, so we wouldn't get home to around 9 o'clock at night. We pulled up to our mobile home. Usually, my brother would be inside waiting for us, but instead he was outside standing by himself, looking like he had seen a ghost. We pull into the carport, and I noticed that all the lights are off inside. When we get out of the car, he lifts his hand and points at the house and says in a shaken voice, "I'm not going in there by myself." We asked him what happened, and this is what he told us. "I came home and I was walking into the carport, and I was about to enter the house.
I heard what sounded like a group of people talking and laughing inside the house. I heard silverware and dishes clanking loudly, thinking like there was some sort of dinner party. But all the lights were off. I thought you guys were trying to play a prank on me or something. So I got up the steps and I pull out my house keys. The whole time I still hear muffled chatter and laughing and even music. As soon as I put the house key in the doorknob, I heard someone say, "Shh." Then the entire house went silent, like everything just stopped at once. As soon as I opened the door, just a little, I heard people running in the opposite direction of the trailer, away from me. At this point, I'm starting to think that it wasn't a prank, and some people have broken into the house and were trying to leave before they got caught. So I ran around the back of the house to cut them off at the back door. But once I got there, everything was quiet. I thought maybe whoever was inside didn't run out because they knew I was gonna go on the other side. So I sprinted back to the front door, opened it, and ran inside. It was quiet and pitch black. I turned on all the lights and cleared the entire house looking for anyone. Not one thing was out of place. Nothing to indicate at all that anyone was there. That's when I ran outside and waited for you guys to get here. My brother-in-law was never the same after that day. This story happened in the Philippines in October of 2002 on Halloween night. This was when I was still a junior in high school. My friends and I stuck around school late one night after our annual Halloween party. We had gotten out my friend's Ouija board. It wasn't the brightest idea, but we were looking for a thrill. We found a nice spot under a tree and proceeded to set up the game. There were 5 of us. We were all expecting some kind of paranormal contact. Rumor was our school was haunted. It said that on Halloween night, the spirits come out to play, and we wanted to get scared that night. We were really excited because it was the first time any of us saw a Ouija board. Our school was located in an old Spanish mission house built in the 1800s when the Spaniards still occupied the Philippines. We were in a section of the school that no one ever went to. We sat down in the middle of an open space with only a small light bulb illuminating the surroundings. My friend, who had brought the Ouija board, proceeded to place it in the middle of the circle. It was a glow-in-the-dark version, which gave us the ability to see what was written in the dark. Not knowing exactly what to do, and going only by what we saw in the movies, we all placed our index fingers on top of the planchette, and we looked at each other and said, "What's next?" We decided to just throw out questions. "Is anyone there?" I called out from the darkness. Nothing happened. One of my friends who was there asked, "If there are any spirits here, please make yourself known." Still, nothing moved. We clearly had no idea what we were doing. One of the boys jerked the planchette, and the girl screamed, breaking the silence. Then we all laughed at how ridiculous this all was. After a bit of joking around, we decided to give it another go. We all placed our index fingers back on the planchette. Once more, we asked, "Is anyone there? We'd like to make contact." We were just about to give up when the wind started to pick up, and the darkness around us seemed to move in. I felt scared for some reason. I didn't know why. We asked again, "Is anyone there?" I remember the dead leaves beginning to swirl around us with the wind. One of the girls said that she was scared and that her mom told her not to play with forces that we do not understand.
Despite being terrified, we continued to ask questions like, are you a ghost or are you a demon? But still, nothing happened. This is boring. I don't know what to do anymore, one of the girls said. Just then, a group of dogs from the neighboring house started barking at us through the chain-linked fence. These two dogs were growling and baring their teeth, going crazy. We were all petrified, and without finishing the ritual properly by saying goodbye to the board, we just got up and bolted out of there. We didn't see one another until after Halloween break. And this is where the story gets really terrifying. One of the girls told us about a weird experience she had when she went home with the Ouija board that late Halloween night. She realized that she didn't have her house key, and so she called her younger brother to let her in the house. What he said terrified her to the core. He swore she was already home and had seen her walk in a while before, and said that she looked really tired and stared at him before going upstairs to her bedroom. Then another friend told us of an encounter that she had that same Halloween night. She was going up to her room when the light started flickering as she was ascending the staircase. She assumed it was just faulty wiring, but then she saw the door to her room open and a dark figure stepped out and stood at the top of the staircase. She couldn't make out this entity, but she said that she couldn't move and felt utter dread as this thing started to go down the staircase toward her. Something happened to me as well, said one of my other friends who was there. He recalled that he was sleeping at night in bed when he woke up feeling really uncomfortable. There was this dread and heaviness surrounding the air in the room. He looked around the room, and that's when he saw a bloody face of a woman with piercing red eyes staring right at him through the window. I couldn't believe what I was hearing because I also had an incident myself that night after playing with the Ouija board. That night, I was sleeping in the passenger seat of my mom's car on the ride home when I felt the car jerk. I woke up instantly and looked out the window and saw that we were hit by an 18-wheeler. I panicked and made it out of the car. Luckily, my mom and I survived the crash, but the front of the car was totaled. I still don't have an explanation for why all those things happened to us that same night. Thank God nothing happened after that. I have never played or gotten near a Ouija board ever since then.
Thank you, my friends, for listening to Master of Horror. Please like and subscribe for more true, scary paranormal stories. Till next time, my friends, sleep tight. And please don't forget to leave the nightlight on.